Hello, welcome to the Piapot Future Leaders Podcast. My name is
Right.
Conrad Obi. I'm your host. Today we'll be speaking with Everet Sayer from the Piapot Nation. He is currently running for chief in the 2024 elections. Today, this podcast is designed to create a platform for candidates to introduce themselves to all voters as a way to understand their vision for the community. All candidates who are running for chief will be given 75 minutes, and all candidates who are running for councillor will be given 1 hour. We will be asking 8 to 11 selected questions. These questions have been sent to the candidates in advance. We encourage respectful and constructive comments only. Welcome to the show, Everet Sayer. Please let us know about yourself.
Danse na wako maganak. Nia osa pachike oasis nisigason. Coming to you from the creator's land of Piapot,
Mm,
our people in Hill Patak. Well, I guess first of all, I want to say thank you, Conroy, for allowing me to share my voice with you and hopefully the people. Right.
yes, thank
Um,
you.
I believe this platform is very much needed, and I think it's keeping us in touch with technology. It kind of just
Yes,
similar to using an axe to a chainsaw. This is where we are now.
that's a
And
great analogy.
yeah, I am very excited to hopefully be heard and understood differently. I know a lot of us never really know one another until we actually sit down and talk, right?
Hmm.
So I guess I'll speak a little bit of where I've been, where I come from. My mother was Sandra Sayer. She comes from, I believe, the Yellow Coal Fishing Lake area, right? My dad was Alphonse Lavalley Jr. Um, from across the road over here. My parents are both have gone on now.
Hmm.
At a young age, I lived a rough life. I will never say I had a perfect life. I was forced out of my home at a young age to figure life out for myself. It was a struggle, more worried about what I was going to eat the next day. That's the life I came from, and I don't blame anybody. It's just a part of life, and I was how would you say adapting to the environment I was brought up in, and I learned quick that it wasn't the proper way to walk, and a lot of that is due to the cultural aspect of my life. My relatives here in Piapot have taught me a lot about the cultural ways. Right, growing up, I was forced out of my home at the age of 14 years old, and I believe at that time I was forced out because I chose to go to a powwow in Oklahoma, and I left the school. And I called my cookum like to let her know there's a tornado coming, and she said, "Well, you're old enough to make it down there. Yeah, you can find your own home." So I was trying not to be scared. Right, it is a real eye opener, and I learned that at that point a lot of my own family and others around me were unhealed. They were still dealing with intergenerational trauma.
Hmm.
A lot of it wasn't my fault. It was something they went through, and it was projected on me. And when I say I would never change anything, because I would never change anything, because it kind of carved me to the person I am today. I'm no better than anybody. I do have flaws. I'm not perfect. I've dealt with drugs and alcohol, and today I look in front of me and I have a drug test that says I drink too much coffee, and I'm totally guilty of it, right? Um,
Congratulations on your sobriety.
Thank you. And, I'm not one to judge anybody, because I don't believe it's our place to judge. That's somebody else's job to do that. Um, I've been married for 16 years to my wife, who's from Navajo Nation. I have two beautiful daughters, got a
Congrats.
couple dogs, and a couple, I have a magpie, believe it or not. I legitimately have a magpie that comes and stays here every year. And we have a few stories with that. But those are my animals, right? And all my life, I never had a stable home. So now I'm doing what I'm doing because of the life I lived. The only way to change is to walk your talk. And
Mm.
I try my best to be very honest and straightforward with people. And sometimes I'm not going to lie, I may come off the wrong way, but it's from my heart. I would never stray anybody into danger. It's not I've been down that route, and I know the feelings that come with that. Um, I lived as an off reserve band member. I learned the struggles there too, and as yourself being an off reserve band member, the programming. There's not help there, and a
Yes.
lot of the little things that I went through, it kind of put me on the path that I am today.
Yeah.
And between, like, I'm not gonna lie, I shouldn't even be here today. I thought I'd be in jail or dead or
Hmm.
something, right? But I'm here and I'm doing it. So I'm breaking cycles in my family that have been there forever. And even me just being a father to my kid, just trying to be honest, trying to do the best I can, putting myself before everybody else to try to handle that issue. And I guess that's me in a nutshell, right? I want to share. I'm going to be very transparent with my education. I only have a grade 11 education. Like I said, when I was kicked out, I was worried about eating the next day. At the same time, I've worked with a lot of very educated people. I had the chance to go to universities to speak to doctors about our medicines, teaching about
Yes.
what we went through, right? Um, Things like that. I really, I hope somebody out there is watching, and if they think that they can't do something, sky's the limit, right? And that's what I want to do is encourage our young ones to, learn your language as best you can, learn your roots, learn your protocols, where you're from. If it's one thing I've learned up till now is these Moniawak, these bigger business people, IFC, these government officials, they fear somebody that knows their culture but yet can talk their language, and also
Yes.
see through the lives, how they structure their agreements and things. You have to learn how to read these and understand them, right? And I believe, our past leadership, we weren't as educated back then. Believe it or not, I'm a very advocate for education, post secondary, all of it. I want something I'd like to see more of, right? So I mean, am I straying off here? Because I'm kind
Nope.
of I'm
Nope.
okay.
Keep going. It's all about
I'm
telling
ready.
us about yourself.
All right. Well, another thing, I've come to do a lot of cool things, I'm very. It gets tough for me because this falls under bragging, but I've also got to work in the United States at different universities, Haskell University. I've got to go there and share what I've come to do in life, and um, being next to a lot of role models. Jim Thorpe being one of them. I really looked up to what he's come to do. I got a chance to meet these people, all because of the culture, the things I bring from Piapot, and growing up. When other kids were doing much music, dance parties, and having fun, I was hauling rocks. I was picking medicines, and I was very resentful for it. Now, I'm very thankful. Right? I tell my kids the
Yes.
same thing. What I'm teaching you now may not come into effect till I'm gone. But I tell my wife, our kids are like little walking encyclopedias for our ways, right? And they don't know. Everything's natural to them. You could ask them, about Santa. They know Santa doesn't come to the res. Things like that, right? Our protocols. But yet they could talk about little people. They're more. They know how to relate to that better, right?
Yeah. I
That's
definitely. I definitely appreciate like fatherhood, right? That's a big part of leadership.
yeah.
Now, would you say that you self educate through like reading a lot of books and things like that?
Yes, I have a lot of books. So one of the first books I've ever read was The Art of War, and
Wow. Yeah, my
it's
mother actually always encouraged me to read that.
I love that book. It teaches you how to use your words to try not to get to a war, how to use mind tactics and how to recognize these things. And it really helped me. And I started to become a people person, right? I do a lot of reading, a lot of research on things, and I'm very for our treaties, keeping those alive, right?
Yeah.
Respecting them. That's kind of what I've come to do. But a lot of it, like I said, when I left Canada, a lot of the friends I had, like singing, so they're singing Powell around dances, our different ceremonies. Coming home now, they're all chiefs. They're all chiefs and they're doing things. They're lawyers, doctors, and I'm very proud of them. And I was questioned because they asked me, you helped us with our growth, and why aren't you stepping up? And I came home and I was hired in the school to become a EA. And then from a EA, I went to a culture advocate. And the kids in the school asked me to run for council, and it was all over a pizza party. And I said, I love the kids. That's where I came from. So I ended up getting nominated, and I'm here now, and I'm very I wear my heart in my sleeve. I have nothing to hide, and I try to be positive. Same time, I am still a father. I still will bark at people when when you're a store and you're in the
I know
store
how it
for
is. I
floor
know how it
walkers,
is.
those type of things, right? I'm
Yeah.
still that guy. I'm a very huge advocate for I protect our women, children. I still consider myself a warrior in some ways, a helper, right? In that way, I like because of the life I lived, I always stand up for those things. I was raised by women, so my
Same
cookum Irma,
here.
yeah, my cookum Irma Crow, she raised me, so I a lot of ties to the community. Um, yeah, and end of the day, I walk my talk, and that's the best I can do. I have my doors always open. I'm actually quite concerned. I have my windows open because people have been coming by back and forth. So if somebody comes, I'm just going to make them join me right here.
That's okay, man. My kids are coming home soon too. So that's a great segue into, and I know you went over that a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, but what was the big turning point for you uh, to run for this position? And I know it's other people that nominate you, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, once they nominated, you had the decision to say yay or nay. So, what was the biggest reason that you decided to say yes?
So this one is a little touchy for me because my late Muslim Eddie, Eddie LaValle, Kape Sagwatak is his name. On his deathbed, he had um, he had asked me to sing a song. Me and my daughters, we did. He used to ask us to sing a certain song to him, and we did that. And after I sang to him, he called me close to his ear, and our pipe pod humor is quite ruthless. So there's something he told me that I can't say right now in the air because people are watching. But
Yeah.
it was our humor, and he told me do one thing for me, and it was to step up and run for chief and do your best that you can do out there. That to me, growing up the life I came through, is that if you commit to something, I will always do my best to follow through, especially if it's somebody that I love and I care for. And yeah, at that time he kind of seen what I was already doing around the table, and the calls and the things I was every day. I'm always doing something, right? And he said that you should look at that on a higher scale.
Hmm.
Don't take no for an answer and just go for it. So I'm doing it. And am I scared? Am I I'm I have my fears. I've told my wife I feel like I'm jumping into water that I don't know. And she goes, "Well,
Deep
you could
end of the
float."
pool.
She goes, "You could
Yeah.
float." So I said, "I'm floating." Yeah, I'm but I know where my heart is at, and that was the main reason that I chose to step up. Also, the nature on these tables. I kind of I found myself speaking with a lot of the our higher Indian governance people, and
Mm.
them gravitating to me, asking me things, and I started to wonder, like I could do this. Like I can do this. I know the proper people, especially when it comes to economic development, joint ventures, partnerships. I have that reach to. I could reach out there, and I'm not bragging, but I do have a lot of good friends that are all over the place, and some of them are even in the street. And I will never judge any life. It's not me, but I can go both sides. I have people that are still struggling. I have people that are very successful, and I've always wanted to surround myself with people that are better than me, a team that can move things forward in a good way. So that's what I'm walking right now. I'm doing my best to do that. Right. That's the main reason that I came to run. Also, I live on the community. I live right here. The dust, the dogs, the wood ticks, all of it. I get it all. I love it. Right. It's home.
Yeah, I get that. And like um, back in my day, like I thought about maybe I should try to be on council, but I understand you have to know the people and you have to live there. And I think that should be one of the basic requirements. And as
Okay.
far as I know, that is like most people that run, um, either live there or consistently there, and
Yeah.
they know the community, right? So I think that's great. Now, I feel like you kind of answered this one, but let's see. What experience makes you the most well suited for this role as chief?
Well, like I said, I could dive a little bit deeper down this hole for you right now. Is that like understanding the language? Um, I guess we have two voices. You know, this is the one we need to watch, right? But
Mm,
our body can speak a language that this cannot say. And through ceremony and all these things, you could really see these people where they what they mean. Are they pulling our legs? ISC, like we know they don't want what's best for us. I know this. The government wants to
hmm
hold us down. And then once I started to realize a lot of these things, I knew that I could see through it. And advocacy, like I have no problem knocking on the door and asking why, and explain to me why. Explain to me and my council why we can have this funding. Why off reserve in these Munio areas for, say, our an elder's home, they get funding, everything they ask. But if it's us, we have to fight for it, and it's never the same. These are things that I want to know why. Why? Explain to me why. And I have no problem going to Ottawa, knocking on all the doors, so I find out the answer. And that's proper advocacy, is being able to put your community first. My family comes second, you know, and all my life, because of my lifestyle, my wife's lifestyle, we kind of always were away. My wife, when she would work, she'd work from 6 o'clock in the morning to about 7 in the afternoon, and I would raise the babies. I raised my daughters, and a very awesome experience for me to just be there with my kids and teach them everything. I think my youngest daughter, she sang before she even speak, so that was a dream for me, right? And a lot of this to me became leadership qualities. What I look for in a leader is someone to be honest, loving, caring, but yet you have to be strong. You have to know when to stand up. You have to know how to handle issues at a table, resolve conflict in a good way, not let problems linger. That's when things start to happen, right? Hit these problems in the face in a good way, right? With love.
yes.
Kiss it in the face per se, right? I think I think that's something.
Pow.
Yeah, I've been notorious to do that in a respectful way, and yeah, like I say, everybody's built different, and I understand. Like my common sense to me is I think a lot. I think a lot. That's if I sit still, my mind, I'll think about. I'll be in China walking the Great Wall singing a song, and if I'm sitting there long enough, that's how my mind works, right? And yeah, I was fortunate enough to be around a lot of leaders growing up in their own right. If they
hmm
were running a ceremony, a round dance, arena directors at pause, I picked out little things from everybody, and I just like a Lego stacked them in me, put them in me, the best things, right?
Yeah.
And right now, I believe I'm kind of a lethal weapon when it comes in that area because of all these teachings, and I want to push it forward in a good way, right? Share with everybody. That's kind of what I think a leader is, and at the same time, opening your mind, having an open mind, and even having to rewire your mind. You know, a lot of these things that I grew up, I didn't realize were actually intergenerational trauma and residential school teachings, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that's one of the benefits that your generation, our generation, I should say, we have is that we have access to that kind of education now versus like our parents, right?
yeah. Like
Yeah.
Connor,
So
you know very well how much times were you told to sit at the table and finish your food and you cannot move, right? Things like that. That wasn't our way, right? And I have experience with peas, green peas. My mouth naturally filters them out. I'm triggered by them, right? Because of that, the residential school teachings, right? And standing in a corner till you listen. That's not our way, right? To be loving and kind is as hard as it is as being a parent. You know, sometimes you have to put your foot down, and I'm very huge on not defending my kids. I want my kids to realize life out there. I'm not always going to be around to protect them, and nor will
mhm.
I stand up for them. If they get themselves in a bind, they got to get themselves out of that bind. I'll be right here where I am, loving them, but they need to figure that out for themselves. And I believe that creates leadership skills in its own, is allowing them to learn life for themselves. That's something I've been huge on. My wife gets after me. I told her I'm gonna raise my kids like I'm gonna raise two dogs, and she's like, "Well, that sounds bad." Well, they're gonna learn things. So there's a time where it played out where my youngest daughter was standing on my oldest daughter's back, and they're in the cupboards, and they're cooking on their own, and I'm watching them. I could help them, but I'm not gonna get up and help them. I want them to do it on their own. Now they're now cooking for our feasts. They're making these things now, and they can do this. I feel like I told my wife I could pass away tomorrow, and I know my kids are gonna be fine. I've instilled that, and they're still young. They're babies yet, right? Things like that make me proud, and I know if I can help these two young ladies, my daughters, that I can do this on a larger scale. And I've been doing it. I've been walking it. This falls under bragging again, but I know what I brought to our community, and especially with the kids. If our school is a prime example, our language is alive. The singing, the protocol, all our teachings, land-based stuff. Oh, it's thriving, and I know we're leading the way. I know we are. It's a great feeling because you had a little piece to do with that, right?
Yeah,
Supporting what's happening. Yeah,
I like that, and it's good to know like what is happening on the reserve, right? So me live in Calgary, I don't know much, and when I come home, like for ceremony or when I come to the POW, I talk to cousins and family, and that's when I kind of get an update what's happening with the schools, the
yeah,
education, some of the things going on around there. So, that's what I like, but it's good to know like someone that's running for chief, understands that stuff. So that's pretty good.
yeah. Hmm.
Now, well, the next question is, how do you plan to educate the common band members, such as myself, right, and others who live off the nation, on what's going on with the nation? Like, do you have any ideas on how to better communicate everything to the rest of us around the outside?
Yeah, I'm gonna hire Conrad Obi, and he's gonna have podcasts for everybody. That's kind of an easy one. No, realistically, like we
Yeah.
have to go out. We have to go out there. I know, like I firmly believe, as me living being an off reserve member, you go out there. First time I seen one of our leadership, a chief came down to Ignacio, Colorado, where I was living, and
Wow.
the MC calls me. He goes, "Your chief is here." At that time, I didn't care about politics. I didn't care who anything. And then I go over and see him, and for him to come up to me and let me know that I'm a part of a band. I'm a part of a band, and you're not forgotten.
Yeah.
It was a really good feeling, right? And so I'm all about educating off reserve, and I believe in engagements. Coming out there, sitting with you guys, taking the time to listen to what you have to say, but also taking it and how do we implement something for off reserves? I'm gonna get into that when you ask me another question. I have this planned and teed up already, but I don't want to give it away just yet. We have a lot of time, but I have a lot of ideas, and a lot of it is from what I felt and seen. Right, our off
Okay.
reserve members, our members, we're all part of the same band. Okay, and as far as we can reach, we want to involve everybody some way, somehow. That and realistically, this podcast, you're helping us right now. We need to use the proper technology to reach everybody, right?
Yes,
So,
and Facebook, to be honest, like every Nietzsche got Facebook. Let's be real. Even
oh,
Cookdom's got
yeah,
Facebook.
upway.
So it's the
Yeah,
way it's our new way to communicate. So that's
it's a
great.
good communication tool, but it's also a lot of lateral violence. But that's part of life too. You got to walk in those both worlds, keep that balance, right? That's
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I ensured to let everybody know like we need to keep it respectful.
yes,
Because at the end of the day, we're all cousins.
yeah, yeah,
We're all related in some way, you know what I mean? And if we weren't, one of our cousins dated this person or dated that person, or,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So we're all
yes,
intertwined and we all have similar stories. And when it
yeah,
comes time for ceremony, we definitely understand that we're all family. So
yes, totally,
I think,
totally. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
So,
actually when you said that, that's actually one of my favorite times of the year is our big lodge because everybody gets along and they love one another. It's beautiful,
yes,
beautiful.
that's what I love to see. One
I believe
second
last
here.
time I seen you was at the lodge
Yeah,
last year. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I
Nice.
brought my father as well. So
All
that was pretty
right.
cool. So this is the question, like, on everybody's minds.
Okay.
So if you're elected for chief, how will you ensure transparency and accountability in your role?
I'm gonna hire Conroy again. No,
Cha.
no. For me, honestly, going talking about our principal, she had created these engagements, and it started with hats and cell phones for the kids. What I come to say, I sat in these engagements and I seen how they played out. They were so effective because it's not us as chief and council making the rules; it's the people, and we gave everybody a chance to speak, and they compiled all their little notes, and we took them all, and they
Mm,
and then they put them into school, and they brought them back. Okay, this is what we came up with. You as parents want us to implicate that there's no cell phone use in the school. That way, there's no lateral violence via Facebook, Snapchat, whatever, right?
mhm.
It was very effective, and we're talking data now. The data spoke for itself, right? Now, if you're to do that when it comes to financial aspect of things, if
Yeah.
if if I'm elected chief and one of our council has to go travel someplace, well, they're going to come back and we're going to ask them, what did you learn? What did you go over and bring back? And you're going to speak to the community. We will bring it to the hall where everybody can actually sit and listen, right? And I believe being transparent in that way, where we're gonna have everything on a wall projected. You could see what's happening. If somebody's number is higher, we're gonna explain to this counselor, or if it's myself, I will speak confidently and openly about it. I believe we're gonna have so many engagements, people are gonna get sick of it. Where there, and I think that's a good thing we need to get to. That's one way I want to keep transparent and be
Mhm.
accountable, is to do exactly that. That's something, living under community, I hear all too often, and I know we can combat that with these engagements, right? And yes, we'll go live on Facebook. We'll show you being off reserve. You can tune into and giving you a chance to ask a question. What is this? Where is this going? Right? I think that's the
Yeah.
best way to do it.
Well, and then so I like to hear that, and to put it just a small note on that,
Hmm.
it would be nice to use for us if you guys used, the band and council, if they had some sort of portal in which a band member just comes, they enter their treaty number, and that lets them into this online portal where they can look at documents, they can look at
Mm.
family history, right, genealogy,
Oh.
all these kind of things. Like that would be really cool for, especially off reserve. And there's a lot of kids that are trying to come home from foster care, right? So,
So I'm gonna write that down because that is a damn good idea.
and then what would be your ideas in terms of accountability?
Well, accountability is like exactly what I said. Is when it comes to the financial aspect of things, but also supplying a criminal record check, your drug
Yeah.
tests. That to me is accountability, and that's the reason I have the both papers sitting in front of me. I want to be accountable because anybody can translate any story that they may hear out there, right? And the only way you could combat that is with the truth. So, and end of the day, like it falls under that. Let's not judge one another till we know the full story. We know both sides of the story. Um, and that to me is part of being accountable, but also being out here, being seen, and making these hard decisions. That not like when you're hired to be on a table, you have to make a choice, and you can't. I guess I call it fence riding. You don't want to ride a fence.
Hmm.
A leader will pick a decision whether it's against the council or not. He has to make a choice, and through that, you can bump heads, but as long as you leave the room, professional, right? I think that would be accountability, as much as I could see it. But it'll even fall under these engagements a lot. And I like what you said, as you as an off reserve member, having a link or a portal to come on, and you could see what's happening too, right? And also answer the questions. Have a little box, put your comments, ask, right? But actually, picking up your phone and answering your phone. That's part of our jobs too, right? Is
Yeah.
to listen. And a lot of the calls, they're not always beautiful, and that's part of life, right? You have to be accountable. And yes, I've had a few nice calls. I've had a few, not so nice calls, but regardless, I
It
answered, right?
comes with the territory, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
Okay, great. Thank you for answering that and then answering it in depth. Um, so, how will you create an environment that will foster healing and improve you know, the relationships on our First Nation, because we all know there's a lot of families who have discord. People have discord, and you know, someone from the outside. I'm hoping that our candidates can tell us like if they have a game plan for that or some ideas
Oh,
for it, anyways.
I answered this question 3 times today, believe it or not. So I'm going to do it again. Hopefully, it doesn't change from the last person. So um, it comes down to intergenerational trauma and starting from the home fire itself. Traditional parenting, proper parenting. Um, it's a cycle we need to break. And I say this all too often. When you're at home and you're speaking negative about something, your kids are listening. Your
Mm,
kids are listening. And what are they going to do when they go to school? What are they going to think that's right? So it starts from the home, and this is where our prevention can come in. You know, they could start creating traditional parenting classes. I don't want to use the wrong terminology, but it does start from home.
mm,
After that, the community needs to start being loving, kind, holding up. Let's expose these ones that are doing proper, that they're doing a good job. We have lawyers, we have doctors out there. We never hold them up. We need to start raising these ones up, and not nitpicking at the small stuff. And I believe it starts with programming, and we all know ISC. They will underfund anything that's good for us. This is where the advocacy comes in, right? But also walking your talk. Let's get involved with our ceremonies, learn our language. That helps so much to get a healthy family. Also, food sovereignty. What you eat matters, right? Like you can't be eating garbage all the time. Well, you'll kind of look like me. I have a little bit of a belly, right? But I'm a little bit of a machine too. And but
you know,
eating right.
yeah, I really like to hear that because the thing is like, you know, I grew up off and on the res when I was really young, say up
Yeah.
to like 10. But you know, we're raised impoverished, and no one ever told me about healthy eating. You know, and now in my 40s, I really have to consider that. But it would be great to like see those kind of educational courses about, you know, food sovereignty, about
Mhm.
budgets, like, you know, setting a course up when these kids start getting, you know, their payouts and things like that.
Yeah.
Hey, take this 2-week course and teach you the basic about investing. Maybe, you know, you can invest your money, or you can learn how to use the stocks or put it in savings, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, that so I've been actually something I've been pushing for was financial literacy for our band, for our people.
Mm,
And I wanted this to come from the social assistance program, our prevention, our CFS, our NADAP, all of it. They should be pushing this because a lot of our people, you give them, and I mean, not just our people, First Nations people in general, they don't have that. It's more, we have this now. How can we live fast? You got to look more in investing. How do you properly save money? How do you properly spend money, right? A lot of, I know I have an uncle here who got a day school settlement, and yeah, he out of love, he handed out all his money, and now he doesn't have nothing, right? But he's happy. But the thing is, it shouldn't be that way. If he had the financial literacy and the help and the programming, the assistance to be there, he would be okay today. And I believe that's huge for our people is to have those set up. Bring in these people to teach we have the funding for it. We need to do it. Too much talk and just get it done because I learned the hard way. I blew all my money, and no, we have rent. You got a car payment. Oh man, a car's taken
yeah.
away. And I'm clean looking in the couch for quarters, whatever I could do. And now that's something I see is financial literacy. There's the means to do it, and that would be one way I would look at that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So now, you know, of course, on everybody's minds, there's a couple of key questions, right? So one of the key questions would be, what steps will you take to promote economic development and improve the quality of life for all members on and off the
Um,
reserve?
I love economic development. That's my forte. It's so okay. Well, first of all, I'm going to look at long-term financial stability for our people.
Hmm.
Proper business, joint ventures and partnerships are key, right? But also structuring these agreements properly for the band. A lot, not something that you're going to get right now in your hand, but long term. What's it going to be effective in the long term? Making Like we're a TLE band. Like we should be. Well, I know we're gonna explode. I know for a fact we are. This is why I'm running too. I want to try to guide that in a good way. We have international countries knocking at our door. Um, a lot of the times, though, you can bring a lot of these opportunities to the table, but they'll stay stagnant. This is where you need to have a proper team to push these things forward, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of opportunity as being a TLE band. I know I just said that, but we also have partnerships that people just want to work with us. They want to pull the trigger so bad, right? We have the capacity on our own First Nations to do so. Now, what we're talking about off reserve membership,
Yes.
I would love to create uh, entity through economic development where that funding is just straight for off reserve membership. You submit a BMR to there, that's where you're going to get help from because and it's going to be making money, right? The band won't do nothing with that. That's going to be for off reserve membership. Maybe we do another gas station someplace. All that funding is going to go to hopefully our sports complex and our elders lodge. These are things that I could see in they're very they're very doable right now. It's right here. Like I know it's right there because I could see it all right here. I know the proper people to do it. I just need a chance to do it. And I know I have a lot of barriers to overcome, but all my life that's all I've been doing is jumping over barriers. So I'm not gonna stop, right? And I know that Pipebot as a band has a history of being very defiant toward the government and also making things
Yeah.
work towards our we're train stoppers and we're Pipebot strong, you know. Our people have a certain energy about them. Where I'm very happy about that, right? That we stand our ground, and we'll
Okay.
stand up for what we feel is right. And this all falls under economic development and knowing how to speak around these tables. It really comes down to that. Understanding that a lot of the biggest decisions, a lot of them don't happen around a table. I know that for a fact. They're happening when you run into somebody at a mall, on a golf course. I hated golf. I love golf now, but because a lot of these people, that's where business happens. And these are the ones that can make things happen. I'm notorious for surrounding myself with movers and shakers, right, on all level. And I'm
Mhm.
very confident to say that if I had that chance, I can do this. I could totally do this and move things forward in a good way. Like I know it. And that would be a good for our people.
Yes. Now, would you be looking at restructuring of the current budgets and the way even like current salaries, things like that? Would you be looking at like some sort of restructuring plan? Yeah, just I always like to get a little bit more in depth into these
Yeah,
questions.
let's dive down that hole. Obviously, a lot of I really respect the team that I'm with. That the I done my 4 years with the all chief and the council. We've all done our best. Like I know
Mhm.
that for a fact. We've had ups, we've had downs. I came into this band and I inherited what is there, the structure that was there already for me, and I believe it or not, I realized our people are very dependent, and the money we make as council, it comes in and it goes out. And I have stacks of e-transfers to prove that. I'm very accountable. I know that I know it. The moment I got in, I kept track of everything, right?
Mhm.
And I want to break that cycle. I believe jobs. We have a lot of people in our community that have certain certificates that they could be utilizing,
Yeah.
but here we are upping SA. You know, so we need to really look at that and structure a system where we want to get you off of SA. We want to get you out there making money for your family, creating your own stability at home, a good foundation, right? Our people they're work hogs. They can work so hard, you know. But they need to have a proper structure there and the financial aspect of it. Yes, we're gonna have to make huge changes there. And the best way to do it is by being accountable to the people. And then what you make, put it on the wall and speak to everybody about it, right? And that's gonna be a good thing to do. Same time, I also know as being around that table is there's everything from your toilet paper to your gas to your whatever it is, you're accountable for every cent, right? And some of
Mhm.
the times it gets tough to explain because I have a family, I have bills, and I need to eat too, right? And people forget
Yeah.
that. we're human as being in
Yeah.
council.
But one of the
And
things, like, I'm sorry,
mhm. No,
please
that's fine.
allow me to cut in. Um, you know, one of the things, like, I want to ensure that we do on this podcast, because we know we all kind of have like a past.
Oh yeah,
And, in voting season, I've seen people say, well, 15 years ago, you stole my girlfriend. And, you know what I
oh
mean? And I think, in terms of today's leadership,
yeah,
um, I think it's important for people to focus on, like, okay, who is this person today, and who are they trying to become tomorrow?
oh yeah. Support that totally.
Do you know what I mean? So for me as a voter, like, that's what I try to look at, because, like, we both, had some challenging uh, growing up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And one of the things is, like, being judged upon your past is like, it's always
Yeah,
so horrible. And as human beings, we're just up and down. And so now when I try to understand people, um, I just look at, like, who they are presently and who are they trying to become.
you're a smart
Right?
man. You're a smart man.
Yeah. So um, yeah. So I just wanted to let you know that. And any voters that may be watching this is like, that's something to consider. Yeah. So
Conroy, I want to you hit the nail on the head for me. I would not be where I am if I'm because of the life I live, like you. That's why
yes.
I am where I am today, and I don't want to
Yes.
stop because people are watching both yourself and me.
Hmm.
The more we can inspire. As long as we can touch one heart or a couple, man, that's a job well done. Like that's
Yes.
all I'm about. Yeah.
I totally agree. Like, that's great purpose for men and women, and also for leaders, right? That's a great purpose and a great goal. Now, to do with your cultural teachings, this question we usually ask about the seven teachings,
Mhm.
but I understand that's more than a Ojibwe understanding of things. So, with your current cultural beliefs, um, what areas of your teachings play a role in your leadership?
Oh, everything. Like it's every morning. I want. Okay, I'm gonna back up a bit here. You,
Yeah,
okay, Conroy, as a child growing up, if you smelled sweetgrass, what was your first thought? You know,
I think, hmm, home was always home,
see, okay, for me,
and
when I,
safety.
oh yeah, see, safety. See, for me, when I smelled sweetgrass, someone passed away. Something was wrong.
Mm,
I now broke that cycle in my home. When we light smudge, it means the sun's up. Something like, oh, we got a smudge, and the kids come out
mm,
reluctantly, gum in their eyes, and they smudge it. It's just normal practice. Um, a lot of people will say you're using medicine. Yeah, we are using medicine. It's the medicine we've always used in our own community as Nihilpatak people, right? Everybody
mm,
has access to this. It's just knowing how to make it right. Um, I there's like a lot of ceremonies I was fortunate enough and people that I was fortunate enough to learn from. You know, late Scotty Art Cashew, Alec Ninipuisk, Raymond LaValle, um, even Donald Big Knife. A lot of these people that back then who took me and showed me a lot of the little things, and now I look up to our Mushroom Jumbo. You know, these ones that are on my Mushroom Eddie who priest in the left. They've always been very strict on telling us don't bring any outside ways to our ceremonies to keep them the way they are. And I've done my best to do that, looking at the protocols and why we do things. And there's little things we do in ceremonies that it takes a person a long time to get back there. Like what happens behind these stalls and these big lodges, where the headmen go. Like these are things you should earn. You know, we talk about making sacrifices. I believe as a man we need to get out there and do a fast as much as we can. I know a lot of times growing up, I lived in the city. I couldn't go sit in the back alley and fast, right? You know, it wouldn't happen. So I didn't have the means to. But I did make these sacrifices, and you really learn a lot about yourself when you're out there. You learn how small you are, and
mm,
how life, no matter, is going to always go on. You matter, but you have to make yourself something. And walking this way, a lot of people I really get offended when they say, "Well." you believe Indian, or you're a pagan, whatever. I'm a witch, like things like that. It's because it's like, yeah, well, we don't have we're magic, magicians, all these things, right? Now, growing up, I believe also as a leader, when it comes to these roles, you need to walk and know your culture. You know your language the best you can. Follow these ways, and I mean nothing towards anybody, but this is my perspective only. And if you see this as a young fella, if you see a chief come in and come up to you, and he shakes your hand and talks to you in your language, and then 2 hours later you see him singing in a sweat, or hauling the rocks, serving food at a feast. That is a leader to me, and that is our way as Nihilpat people, right? Piapot,
Mm.
Chief Piapot. A lot of the government never knew that he was the chief or calling the shots. He was very humble. Never wore a headdress. I would never
Really,
wear
I
a
didn't know that.
headdress. I would never wear a headdress because of that. He was humble, very humble, right? Um, I believe you earn every feather you have. Anything you've
Mm.
come to do in life, you get given a feather. Nowadays, you look good one day, they'll give you a feather, and I don't believe that's how it goes. You have to do some defined things, but good for your people.
Yeah,
You
like
know.
giving Justin Trudeau a headdress.
Oh my
Cha,
gosh!
ole!
Hey, don't talk about my uncle.
Them Indians went crazy who gave him that.
Yeah, it's nasty. So that's exactly what you said. Is I would if I'm ever going to be given a headdress, it's going to come from the people themselves,
Mm.
right? I would never accept it. Even then, I don't even know if I'd wear it, because I wouldn't, even if to have that title of chief. I know it's one of our highest honors as people, but I would respect it, and I wouldn't just throw it on for a picture. I don't believe that. No, it would be for the people. I'd wear it
Mm.
if it was to be at a feast, at a ceremony setting. I'd wear it then. I just have that respect for, even right now. I hold a rock to help keep me accountable as I speak. Right, mind you, I would have held a fan, but I'd probably want to get kill it here and look too Indian, right?
Showing up with your one braid and two feathers in it,
I could have braided myself up,
talking
but
stoic.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, that's I really firmly believe, Conroy, is that I am I am all for our people and our protocols
Mm.
and our teachings, and I walk that very firmly. And I love to educate people in our ways when it comes to our songs. Our songs that come from here are being sung everywhere. They're out there, and a lot of people don't know they are made from our relatives right here.
Yeah, I've heard that
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. Fortunate enough to sing with late Bush, late Ronnie. I've sat at the drum with these guys, and I've listened to them, right? And I want to be as helpful as they were to the community, sharing, right? Sharing what they had, passing those gifts on.
Yes. Now, I'm not sure how things work on the nation right now, but do you guys currently have a like an elders council?
We do have an elders group. Um, we do have an elders group, and it's comprised of a lot of our obviously elders, right? And
Hmm.
to me, though, I'm going to be very honest on this, Conroy, is we have seniors, you have old people, you have
Yeah.
elders, and you have iteyak. Whichever one you plan to be when you turn 65 is up to you. And for me, a kateyak is someone you go to for guidance. They're not going to yell at you. They're going to help you. They're going to guide you. They're going to say, don't worry about this smudge. Take it easy. And I don't have to pay this person 500 after they give me the guidance, right? That is a kateyak to me. I believe, our elders should be taken care of in the first place. They shouldn't have to pay a bill. That's what I'd like to see. They should be able to hit that point and live freely. That's something I want to see, right? So, but when it comes to our elders groups, I would like our original families on the community to put some guidelines on what makes this elders group, but being effective, not arguing amongst each other. Like,
Oh, so you'd want like community involvement on what a proposed elder group looks like and what kind of purpose they hold.
yes, and
Would
then
that
what?
be appropriate?
Like, yes, I would say that even when it comes to bringing membership in, new members, like I want a membership code. There should be guidelines to that. If
Oh, yes, I was going to ask that too about some sort of like policy or charter changes or something like that.
Yes, and then our bylaws need to happen here. Our policing needs to happen. We do have a clear issue here in our community. We need a strong justice committee to implement these. Rachel, look at these policing agreements. What can we do here in our community to make it safe? That's something. Conroy, a lot of the times when something happens, people don't call the cops. I'll go. I'll be the first one called.
Hmm.
And I have no problem going because, like, I am in this role for a reason, is to stand for our people, right? And I will
Yes.
still do the same thing as chief, and people know that. I'm huge on that. So when getting back to the elders, yes, let's structure something that's a nice, healthy, not just the elders. Let's other groups, healthy groups, but have guidelines to what qualifies you to sit on this group. I think somebody that holds a healthy family, that produced a healthy family, that walks in a nice way, educated, kind, and loving, that would be someone I would go to and get guidance from. Not somebody who's going to be believing or spewing, sharing lies, these things. And we all do it. I'm probably going to do it when I get old too. I want to be a grouchy bugger. I know, right? So I have to hold
Yeah.
myself accountable, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
a part of life and human. You get old, your mind kind of it'll go and it'll deteriorate, and you'll see things differently, right?
Hmm.
Um, that's just normal. But how do we support that, right? How do we go as chief and council? We should be able to go to an elders group and get guidance in a kind way, and then leave with that and implement it, right? Another thing I wanted to mention is like everything that we've come to implement here. I lived through it too. Being out here, I all of it, and I'm not shying away or complaining about anything. I'm here. And then one reason I want to step up is for that fact is that I want to see better out here. And just like the group we're with, we've done our best to push it forward. And that's all I'm trying to do is see more, see more. I can't express enough that Piapot is about to explode in a good way, and we need the proper people there. Right?
Okay,
Education
I
is,
would love to hear that as voters.
you
Now, let's say 20 years from now.
know.
Um, say you won today, and let's say, for instance, you stayed for 2 terms.
Okay.
And what do you like? What would be the legacy you would want to see on our nation? And then, what would you also, to add to that question, what would you also want the people to remember about you during your time of leadership if you were to be elected?
Oh, that's gonna be a. If I cry at any point, don't mind me. I'm gonna share this.
Okay.
No, I'm huge. I'm huge on saying, what do you want to be remembered for? What are you going to be known for? And for me, I want to be known for being very realistic, using my heart to guide me, and also standing up for our people, guiding our people in a positive way. So, like, this falls under long-term financial stability. If I get in 20 years from now, that money that happened back when I got in is still going to be there, right? If you do it properly, that's going to be a huge, huge thing for me. But also share like when I leave, I can guarantee you somewhere people are going to say, "Oh, that was our chief." But he also shared the songs with us. He sang with us. He got down on got his hands dirty with us, right? And
Yes.
but also, well, fought for us. He stood up for us. He showed us what a man, and at this time, a man or a woman, I'm all for either or, but I'm a man. I'm a man, right? So I got to speak on the man side. It would be how he carried himself, how he how he carried himself when there was negativity in front of his face. You do it in a kind and
Yeah.
loving way, and don't ever look down on somebody because of their situation, right? Um,
Yes.
I'm walking my talk right now by trying to do my best, and that those my footprints are there for somebody to follow, but I also want people to make their own path, make your own journey, right? But if there's
Yes.
something that you could find that I've done good, by all means use it, right? That's everything I say and do. I'm either echoing something I learned or it's from my own experience, right? I'll never act or like I know but more than anybody. That's
Yeah.
just in a nutshell. Yeah.
Okay. I do apologize. There's a little bit of a family emergency here.
Oh.
Um, so I do have to end this short. I'm very sorry. Now, essentially, we still have 20 minutes. So if you want to continue this podcast, I can give you a call back and we'll definitely do that. Because I just
Conrad,
have a bit of an emergency I have to deal with here.
I'm happy with what I said, and I'm open to be talked to. You have an emergency, handle it. I'm okay. If you're okay, let's leave it at that. And I am very accessible. I want to say
Okay.
nanas kamun to you. Handle your problem or your issue. I hope things are okay.
Thank you so much. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
See you later, man.